One of the most difficult books to read in the Bible is the book of Hebrews. However, it's also here where I find one of my favorite verses of all times. Chapter 13, verse 5 says, "Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, 'Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you.'" I love knowing that God will never abandon me. I love knowing that God will never desert me. He's not going to quit on me, and He won't give up on me. However, the difficult part of this book is that it lists all the duties for the Christian community. When have duties ever been fun? They've never been easy. Let me give you a few from chapter 13. Verse 1 says, "Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters." Okay, I guess we can try to do that. Verse 2 says, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." That's a bit tricky, God, because God, now we live in a society, we don't trust one another. Verse 3 says, "Continue to remember those in prison, as if you were together with them in prison, as if you yourselves were suffering." Phew, God, how do we do that? Sometimes you get excited when people are sent to prison. So how are we meant to feel their pain? I love, though, that this book elevates Jesus, because we learn in this book that Jesus is the only perfect priest. In the book of Hebrews, we learn that Jesus is the highest priest, and it is His priesthood that endures forever. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 14 says, "For we don't have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are." Isn't that beautiful? We have evidence of this because when Jesus is put on the cross, He feels abandoned. Jesus felt abandoned by God. How many times have we felt abandoned by Jesus? How many times have we felt alone? How many times have we called out, or how many times have we wondered if He really existed? Today, I just want to remind all of us and myself that Jesus was challenged to be faithful to God despite hardships and persecution. And if Jesus went through it for us, our sins have been paid for. We are left with worship. We are left to worship every day and to thank Him for doing that for us. He loved us so much that God gave His only Son, Jesus, to pay for our sins. He has promised in the book of Hebrews that He will never leave us and He will never forsake us. I know we go through a lot of suffering and a lot of pain, but we are to remember that God is righteous. He's excellent. He's genuine. God is never wrong. God is always there. You may feel moments of silence and you think that God has left you. Take rest, take comfort in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 5, that God will never leave you and God will never forsake you.